Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Tori and I am a 30-something-year-old education person, someone who works in education, and I also do foster care. I have a foster daughter, and today I'm going to be talking to you guys about reluctant readers. I do apologize if you can hear a little bit of noise in the background. It is super hot where I live. It is super hot all the time, and of course it's the middle of the summer, so I do have my fan on, and I apologize if you can hear that picking up in the background, but it is just too dang hot for me not to have it on in this room. So what I'm going to be talking to you guys about is reluctant readers. And if you clicked on this video, I am assuming you have a reluctant reader at home and you are looking for some tips and tricks and things to help you out with dealing with your reluctant reader. I just want to say a couple logistical things. I am left-handed, so that is why my page is slightly tilted. It's very difficult for me to write straight, and my hand doesn't twist or turn like some left-handed people, so I just want to kind of get that out of the way initially. Today specifically, what I'm going to share with you are 12 different strategies, and they're really broken down into two categories. So on this side, it is the creating the want and the emotional and the mental connection to wanting to read and finding those ways to create that intrinsic motivation and that motivation to read, and extrinsic. So both intrinsic and extrinsic. So creating those feelings of want and motivation. On this side, I'm going to be talking about specific educational tactics and strategies that you can utilize while you are helping them to actually read. And these are all things that I have done with my foster daughter. She is a very reluctant reader. She struggles. She has a reading disability that has been identified by her school. And so as I'm talking about this, please know that I do deal with this on a daily basis. So hopefully these are tips and tricks that you can utilize too, because these are things that I personally have done myself. So first off, I'm going to start off with talking about having a growth mindset about reading. And this was something huge because when our foster daughter came to us, she had a lot of negative feelings about herself and about reading and her ability to read. So we had to start off by changing her vocabulary. And I know it could be her or him, whatever gender your child is, but changing their vocabulary is key. So changing how they speak about themselves and about reading. She used to say a lot of things like, I can't read, I'm stupid, this is too hard. So we had to go in and approach her and help her to learn how to speak about herself differently. And this really changed just her overall feelings and emotions about herself and about reading. This took a lot of time, and it took a lot of no, say I can't read yet. No, say I'm still trying, I'm still learning, I'm getting better, I'm proud of myself. Finding the ability to incorporate this positive self vocabulary really helped her to change just her overall perspective and how she approached it. The second thing is showing life application. And a lot of kids, the first time, not all, but a lot of children, the first time they encounter reading, or the first time it really becomes real for them in terms of a needed skill, is in school. So you have to show them that it exists outside of school. So school versus home/life. And what I mean by this is showing them that reading is needed for everyday activities. So school is just one small thing, but we showed our foster daughter, if you want to bake and cook, guess what? You have to read directions. If you want to play video games, there's tons of games that we have. You have to learn to read the script on the TV to understand, or the video game to understand what you have to do next. Board games, there are tons of board games that have reading in them. This is key. Also, to learn to use the tablet and computer, you have to know how to read so you can, and read and write so that you can look things up and understand. Driving, we've shown her that to know where you're going, you need to be able to read signs. Also, this one is a more fun one, maybe one you haven't thought about, but when you are buying things, buying products, it's important to know what you're buying, know if it's good, know if it's bad. So we've shown her this like with reviews as well. So if she wants to buy a toy, well, what is it? Let's look it up. How much does it cost? What does it say? What is it called? All of those things. So showing her it exists outside of school was key, because this created the want to learn because she wanted to do these additional things. The next thing, and this might be something you already do, but read to your child and make books accessible. So reading to your child and also reading yourself, just, you know, in your own free time, is really important, because modeling that for them shows them that it's valuable and you find it to be valuable as well. And make books accessible in your home. Even if you don't have your own books or you don't have a lot of books, go to the library and check some out so they can see those books in the home. You could even create a little library for them in their bedroom, whatever you want to do, but just make those books available. The next thing is create incentives. And I highly encourage you to look at your library, the public library, of course, and see what kind of reading programs they have. Oftentimes they have summer reading programs, or they even have yearly programs where students can log their progress, and as they're logging things, they can earn points and they can earn prizes. This creates a lot of buy-in and motivation. Also, at-home incentives for us personally. If you want to play on your tablet, you have to read. The next one is, and it's the last one on this side of my chart, it is create a task chart or chore. So in our house, we have a chore chart, and she gets it every week. And one of the items on there is to read. And so she knows that there is a daily expectation that she needs to read. And hers is also connected to her allowance. So if she completes all of her chores, she gets her allowance. And if she wants the full amount, obviously she has to check off, you know, reading. So create that daily expectation, and that creates all of this creates, is what I said, the motivation. This creates the motivation, and there's extrinsic and intrinsic. Intrinsic will come once they get better and better and better, and they start building that confidence. And the extrinsic are obviously these things like the incentives, connecting it to their allowance. And then that intrinsic motivation is going to come from wanting to be like you, wanting to have the skill set to do these other fun things, and also changing their own personal mindset about how they feel about reading and how they feel about themselves. The other side of the chart is going to focus on mainly academic strategies. So the first one is to create sight word cards. And I'm gonna specifically say create them. This is super key. You guys should make them yourselves. So do the word on one side and a picture on the other. So do word and then picture. I usually let her pick the words that she wants to do. So if we're reading something and we find a word that we feel like she should work on or practice with, we'll make cards together for that word. And we'll use them like as a game, and that definitely helps her out. The next one is going to be to teach vowel patterns. Vowel patterns tend to be something that a lot of children find very difficult, and it's something that they learn in school. But if they're struggling, reluctant readers, then this might be something that was taught in a previous grade and they're past it now, and so they're not really learning it in school anymore. So they're struggling, but yet they don't have the instruction to go along with, you know, where they're at. So vowel patterns are, I'll give you an example. So like a word like came, we taught our foster daughter that the E at the end of words makes the center letter, the center vowel, say its name. So it's not cam, it's came, because the E makes the A say its name. We also work on sound patterns with vowels. So understanding that there are 3 separate sounds that an A can make. A, right? We also talk about double vowels. So like for example, in the word beach, if there's 2 vowels, this one will often make this one say its name, right? Made is another example. This vowel, these double vowels. And then also like booth. So ooh and and foot. So understanding the different sounds that O's can make. So practicing these words and practicing these vowel sounds and teaching these rules can really help out your child. The next one is school related, but I highly encourage you to seek school resources. There are many children who struggle with reading, and your child may qualify for a 504 plan or some kind of IEP, which is an individualized education plan, if they have a learning disability. If your child is ADHD, they could definitely qualify for a 504 plan. A 504 plan is basically something that says that your child will receive additional accommodations and help them to better learn whatever skill set they're lacking. So I would check to see what school resources are available, and even so, outside of that, you could ask for your child to receive additional reading supports in class or to be pulled out into a smaller group, but definitely see what you can get your school to do for you. The next one is going to be websites. I highly encourage you to look at different websites that could potentially help your child to practice, get lots of additional practice in. So websites like, for example, education.com, ABC Mouse, ABCYA, there are a ton of websites where you can do both. You can print consumables, so like education.com, and there's a few others, Pay Teachers, they have some free resources where you can print consumables for your kid to practice with. And then of course you can do it so that they can do some online practice. And the online practice is a lot of fun because there are typically a lot of games on those websites. And I'll link some of these websites below that our foster daughter uses that she finds to be a lot of fun and that have been successful with her and kept her engaged. The next one is colored reading cards. I'm sorry, colored reading strips. And I'll show you what one looks like. Let me grab it over here. This is what a colored reading strip looks like. These are something that you can purchase on Amazon. They're fairly affordable and cheap. They're like maybe $5 or $6 for a pack of 6. And all you do is give it to your child and teach them to use it to read line by line. There's a lot of research, and I'll link maybe an article below where you can read how children with like learning disabilities, dyslexia, reading struggles can benefit from having different colored cards. It does something with the brain where it helps them to better process and read the letters, and helps them to sound it out a little bit better. So this has been really effective with her. She likes using these. It's fun for her, and it really helps her to focus on the line. She doesn't lose her place as much as she used to. So that's a huge tool. And it works better than just using a card, like, you know, to go underneath. I tried that too. It didn't work out too well. Another thing to teach your child is to focus on blending sounds. And what I mean by this is to teach them, so I'm gonna use the word, let's use the word blending. So the word blending, a lot of times children learn each sound individually. And so when they're sounding words out, it's taking them a long time to sound each singular letter, and as they're listening to themselves, they can't hear what's happening. So if you can teach your child to blend certain letters together, like for example, ing, you know, we've taught her that's ing. And then we've taught her to start to, okay, these two letters, what sound would that make together, rather than just b, ul, blue. So we've taught her to start to blend them all together and to listen as she is sounding them out. This has definitely helped her. It's helped her to read faster. It's helped her to pick up the pace and to really pull the sound of the entire word together. The last tip is another strategy and skill. And a lot of these are taught in school, but like I said, if your child missed out on that instruction, or maybe if you're trying to get them to read before they start school, this could help too. Teach them to break up words, and you can do it in, this is a little tricky, because if they can't read the word, they don't always understand that there are syllables. But if you have a compound word, you can also help them with that. So like, for example, I'll give you the example of the word butterfly. If you could have them to, this is what I do with my daughter. She'll say, is this 2 words? Can I do it in 2? And I'll say yes. And then she'll say, where should I break it? I'll say, break it at the R. So she'll break it at the R. She'll sound out this word first, and then she'll sound out this word second, and then she'll blend them together. Obviously, that takes your part to assist them. You know, that means that you're sitting there, you're helping them, and you're going through it with them. But it has been super beneficial because it takes away the fear of the larger words if she feels like she can see it in 2 words. So like I said, this stuff is all on the education / strategy side. And this is all building that motivation. I hope that you found this video helpful. I hope that you learned some tips and tricks that you can utilize with your child at home, whether they're a reluctant reader or not. Maybe you're just trying to get them ahead of the game, whatever it might be. Hopefully you found these tips super helpful. Like I said, I believe I mentioned this at the beginning. I've worked in education for a really long time. I myself was never a reluctant reader, so this is a really difficult thing for me dealing with this with my foster daughter, simply because I can't fully relate. But these tips and strategies have definitely helped me out. And they've worked with her, and she has improved greatly. She went from being able to read in a simple sentence. She could maybe read like 2 to 3 words, maybe 1. like let's say there was 10 words, she could probably read 1 to 2, and at this point she probably reads 80 to 90% of the words within a simple sentence. So it's definitely been super effective. The other thing I'll say is I've been a teacher, I've been a tutor, I've worked for colleges, universities, high schools, I'm a librarian, I've also been a teacher of teachers. So this is definitely my realm, and I hope what I shared with you was useful and you could see application within your own life and with your own children. Thanks for watching, and please, if you have anything you can share or any tips or tricks, share below. Thank you.